Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to Simeon. Peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. This is going to tie into my message of male chastity and further illustrate why that's so necessary. When you look at the balloon pop show, the humiliation ritual, let me remind you all what I said before, that the way that these former plantation snitches choose their mates are the same way that the former plantation owners would have chosen their field hands. You were to be strong of body and weak of mind. The worst possible combination was to be strong of body and strong of mind at the same time. It wasn't to be weak of body and strong of mind because you could possibly get another job. Maybe you'd be the driver for the horses or some job other than just grunt work, field work. You might. It may take a while for a master that needs that to hit the auction and buy you and then assign you to something like that, but you could have some value. But known to be strong of mind and strong of body was a dangerous combination, and that's exactly what any experienced owner who knew what he was doing would actively try to avoid. But the former plantation snitches are going to avoid strong of mind, period. I'm not going to get into the strength of body when one is strong of mind and those differences. I'm not going to really go into that too much for reasons of time. But what I'm going to tell you is that the debate that many of us now entertain is not only pointless, but it is easily answered by history and knowledge of it. Many of you are looking at this former plantation snitch that said quite nicely, well, you look like you read and I like to turn up. And he said, well, I'm an author, which means that he has to read because he has to write. And you know, if you hate to read, you can't write well. Some of you stated that in a situation in which everybody fails, that if everyone fails a class, that you must blame the professor. Some of you have said this before, but I'll tell you that if writing is a major part of that particular class, and none of the students like to read, then that would explain it. And I know of a situation in which quite a few said they don't like to read. They just don't like to read in any language. So, of course, they would fail as writers. Now, I'm not saying this to say that this lady here hates to read. I'm saying this to tell you that that man has to read because he is an author. This means if he's going to write, he must read. To be an author, you must be a reader. That's what I'm getting at. So she's right. Whether he likes to read or not, he does read a lot. You, many of you in the audience, have engaged in the debate about whether or not she reads. And a lot of you have said, no, she doesn't read and she doesn't want him showing her up and that sort of thing. Gentlemen, let me remind you that these former plantation snitches were allowed to know how to read. It's the field hands that were not supposed to. The men in general that were not allowed to know. It was really considered dangerous for them to know. So I'm saying this to say to you that not only is that debate not worth getting into, but the most likely answer is that she does read at least a medium amount. That makes it even worse. She does She does not want a man that reads, not because she doesn't read, but because she does. According to the history, that's the most likely scenario. If you are not going to walk the path of male chastity and encourage it, then somebody who's never had it preached to him is going to hear not only this one particular one, but many others say the same thing, maybe in different ways, like what already has happened. And you're going to have a bunch of guys who do like to read hiding it. You're going to have a bunch of guys who earn their money honestly, lying about how they earn it. You're going to have a bunch of guys depicting themselves to be more negatively stereotypical, or just any kind of negatively stereotypical, when that's not what they are at all. This is not really going to cause any sort of benefit, and here's why. It plays into the former plantation snitches' worst preferences, as if they're legitimate. It legitimizes them by trying to cater to them. Instead of questioning the immorality of these things, and let me remind you that you already know that even those former plantation snitches that like to read, like her, who confess, they still like to turn up. Eventually they're going to want to turn up with a new bae, a new boo. That's what they like to do. So they want to replace. But it's really hard for them to replace someone that is not going to give them a reason to. Now, maybe he would, but chances are, I mean, she does not believe that he would. So how's she going to replace him when she wants to replace him? And she makes that anonymous emergency service phone call, 3-digit number, and tells lies, he's still likely to be very, very able to influence himself. I mean, to defend himself and influence jurors. He's very likely to be able to call in character witnesses, people who worked with him in terms of publishing, people that are going to be able to sit up and say, listen, you know what? I know this dude. He didn't do this. He didn't have to do this. He was an author. He made something from it. He made more every time he wrote than what he made the previous time he wrote. So it would have been dumb for him. He had absolutely no motive to be engaged in whatever it is for which she reported him and even planted evidence. His fingerprints weren't on it. Hers were. She made the phone call. That was her anonymous phone call. Play the tape. That's her voice. Her prints are on it. These are the kind of guys that are not that easily put away. Not that easily disposable. But just like the former plantation owner would look at someone like this after purchase and definitely be trying to put them back on the auction block to sell them again, and can't get rid of them once everyone knows, oh, he's smart, he's strong of mind as well as strong of body. Therefore, never mind, he probably knows how to read. Oh, that's right, he likes to read. Hell, he even writes. Oh, definitely not. Just like that's the former owner's mindset, the former plantation snitch's mindset is very similar. Oh, God, no. I can't call the former plantation owner on him because he doesn't want to deal with this guy. He ain't gonna lock him away. He ain't gonna get rid of him for me. I'm gonna have to sit up and just tell this dude, look, you know what? And I gotta sit up and tell him how toxic I am. And he's going to turn around and tell a bunch of others, and he's going to do it eloquently and articulately as well. And it's going to be very convincing. So the cat will get even further out the bag than what it already is now. This is not because she doesn't read or doesn't like to read. It's not why. She probably does read whether she likes to or not, or she likes to read. What it boils down to is that no matter how much she reads and no matter how much she can read and has read and has learned, she still likes to turn up and she likes to be messy. And she is convinced that no guinea man should be a good reader, let alone a good writer. That's how she views it. And here this guy is, good reader, because he's a good writer. That's what it is. I hope that helps. I want you gentlemen to be able to learn lessons without getting into debates about these things that don't really make a difference. And one of the reasons I've stated that talking about Black history is not enough, you must actually read it and disabuse yourselves of misconceptions about it. You will now understand why it is that I said that. If you do learn these things and enough to not fall victim to misconceptions, then you will realize what is worth debating and what's not, and even the most likely answer to a particular debate. And then you can go right back to focusing on what it is that you need to know, that which actually helps you. In this case, what you must pay attention to is the fact that someone who's literate doesn't want to be matched with someone that's not only as literate, but practices it, or is even more so. But you must also know the most likely scenario, the most likely answer to your debate in this case, based on history, so that you won't waste time debating again. No, and she ain't got to be a non-reader to have that attitude. Matter of fact, more than likely, she's a reader. She has that attitude because he surpassed her. And the other reasons I mentioned. I'm not going to go into what an actual non-reader would have likely said or done. I hope that what I've said benefits you in this case. Thank you for listening as always. I won't go through the long outro, but I will say, keep Jen Black with us till the wings and the wheels fall off. Gender justice forever.